As always, I'm Steve and I'm here to talk to you about Batman. But not as always, but for the second time in the space of a few episodes, we have the wonderful, the amazing James Attias joining us. Hello, bro.
Lovely to be back.
Oh, lovely to have you back. By popular demand. By popular demand means I wanted you back, so you're back. But when the fans hear it, hopefully they'll clamour for more James.
The fans.
The fans. Well, you got to give them what they want, mate, but always leave them wanting more. And here we are again, yes, talking Batman the Animated Series. This is season 3, episode 14, Critters. Story by Steve Gerber, comics legend, creator of Howard the Duck, and script by Joel Lansdale, famous sci-fi author, and directed by Batman the Animated Series mainstay Dan Reber. Now, I'm going to let you talk because this episode was freakalicious, mate. I mean, give us some background on what goes on in this story, mate.
The fact that you said the writer of the creator of Howard the Duck, sci-fi author, it actually makes me like it more because you can see, like, if those two were put in a room together and like, you know what we should do? A farmer that has giant livestock terrorizing Gotham. And then the other one would have been like, I like it. This episode
probably
like
exactly
what
happened.
Been more in like Superman the animated series.
Yeah. Because when I saw the title, I was honestly expecting something more like a Trouble with Tribbles kind of episode, like little cute fairy things. But I mean, I've got to say that I out-Robined because as soon as I saw that first animal breaking out of its cage, the first thing I said was, holy cow. And then, of course, Tim Drake does it later in the episode.
Yeah. But yeah, this is full of puns as well, this episode.
Vintage. It could have been almost an Adam West episode in places because of how weird it was. But again, you said it earlier before we started recording. That's the beauty of this show, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like you one episode, like the last one I spoke to you about, Over the Edge, serious tearjerker, like, oh wow, is this going to change Batman forever? And then you watch this, and you're wondering what changed over the space of probably what would have been 2 weeks on American TV.
It's crazy because, like you said, we went from like deep psychology to deep insanity. It's like, what is going on? But still amazing entertainment. And this is one that will definitely, the kids will be laughing and hiding. It's the horror that kids love, the scary stuff that kids love to be scared by. And I felt it.
So the villain of the episode, Farmer Brown, he's quite a haunting guy. Like, the wealthiest farmer in the entire world, apparently, because he's got his own island, secret lair, Truman Show-esque farm. And in reality, he dresses like the Quaker Oats man, and he's like, sounds like Sling Blade. Come on. So
yeah, and not just that. The dude fights like David Carradine in Kung Fu and looks like David Carradine in Kung Fu.
Yeah, with his gadget pitchfork.
Mate, gadget electrified pitchfork. What the...
There's a brief moment where he kind of outfights Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching it and I was like, that shouldn't happen. And then he beats Robin and you're like, that shouldn't happen.
But then, do you not just think he's taken slightly less of what he gave his jacked daughter, Emmy Lou?
Yeah, that's the thing. I wanted to speak about the daughter because she looks more like Power Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Power Girl did in the Justice League series.
Yep. And similar strength levels because she was throwing like
cars and things.
Yeah. Badass and beautifully voiced. And that's, again, something that's like standard in this show. The actors they pick, but we'll talk about that at the end. I always do my research into the cast. But yeah, this guy makes this giant cow to try and help world hunger. Good guy. Of course, cow breaks loose, chaos ensues, and we have to talk about the curtain moment with Bruce.
Oh, Bruce. rips down the curtain to distract this. Was it a cow? Or was it a giant sheep at the beginning?
It was a cat. I got confused because it looked more like a cat sheep, but it mooed. So I'm going with cow.
Yeah.
It was a keep or a shell.
Obviously, saves the day, and then Commissioner Gordon, oh, quick work with that curtain. He's like, oh, actually, I was just trying to save myself. You're Commissioner Gordon. You're like, what?
Yeah, typical Bruce hiding his senses. Yeah, I was just trying to escape through the window. Yeah,
like,
of course you were.
He couldn't think of anything else. He's like, well, I did what any citizen would have done, or anything like that. He's like, I was trying to escape. Sell it, Bruce. Sell it a little bit more.
I tell you what, he missed a great career as a wrestler. He could sell any fake move in the world.
Oh, and confused Bruce makes another appearance in this episode because when he's on the date 1 year later after this event.
Oh, so funny.
He's like, I'm so sorry, Karen. And then she looks at him and he's like, Sharon? And she still like shakes her head, and I'm like, part of me wants to believe that's the Playboy charm of him being like, oh, I'm so cool. But the way you see it, it's kind of like, maybe he genuinely forgot this time.
Or maybe he's just playing the role
so well.
Of Bruce so well, yeah. And that's, again, because it's the little things you don't think about, because fans like you and I will pick on that, pick that up and find out and think, is he playing? Is he being a dick? Is it both? We don't know. But to casual fans, it's just like, another moment. It's just
world's
awesome.
Greatest detective who remembers the serial number on a gun that he saw once years ago.
Yeah.
Karen? Sharon.
And both were wrong.
Yeah.
Her name's probably Veronica.
Yeah, we need to look up on the cast list the character's name.
Sadly, she didn't come up. I was trying to find out who this poor woman was. But again, rumour has it that anyone not credited is Tara Strong doing double, triple, quadruple duty. And I can believe it. You've met her. You've seen her in cons, surely you know.
It was during 2020. I had a virtual video signing chat with her. She's
Did she do the whole jump from character to character in the space of 5 sentences thing when she was talking to you?
Well, it was a joint talk between her and Kevin Conroy at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So he acting like you want him to be like join the call and be the gritty Batman, but then she was Harley Quinning around, and then she was like, so what did you have for breakfast? And he goes, oatmeal, in just the nicest way. And then you're like, no, you want to say something like justice. I had justice for breakfast, but like you just saw the sweet side of this general like nice man. And she was just diving around going like Harley Quinn, and I think he did the occasional I am vengeance, I am the night. And like of course cool. The lights on the side of the video screen just went ding 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 ding. Like,
oh, you lucky man. That's an experience and a half. Wowzer. I'm jealous. But hey, talking about experiences and a half, like you said to the Truman Show farm. I saw it like Willy Wonka's farm. It was like, what the hell's going on? Because you go in and you think, actually, he's on a farm.
Yep.
And then you realise all the sky is painted, and he gets up in this lift that takes him up to the mezzanine, and he's looking out over Gotham City. He's on one of the remote, unpopulated islands in the middle of the bay. And dude, I thought he was broke. And
you'll never work in this town again. Well, I'll take my $20 billion and show you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this guy's probably rivaling Bruce in cash.
Yeah.
I mean,
chooses to live in a farm under the Gotham River.
And yet he grows mutated animals, no longer for the benefit of humanity, just to terrorize Gotham into giving him 50 million, which I honestly don't think he needs.
No.
What's going on?
And more importantly, like, he's built a daughter who could fight Bane, and he's like, maybe the military would be interested in this super soldier serum that she refers to as beef steroids later on.
Or the Justice League.
Yeah, like... Even Batman.
Yeah. There you go. That could be the origin of Gotham Girl right there.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. Yeah.
Imagine
her formula was worked up in a lab somewhere, wasn't it?
So Farmer Brown was behind Gotham and Gotham Girl, but it wasn't, was it? Was it in the comics? It was it was Bane and stuff. He was behind the whole thing, wasn't it? I can't remember now. Tom.
Bane
King.
So Strange.
Yeah.
And, Amanda
The usual
Waller.
suspects. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bless them.
The minute Bane got his hands on Psycho Pirate, everything changed.
Mm-hmm. As it would.
As it would.
As it would. But let's get back to this episode, because you and I, because we're such bat nerds, we can digress and talk about these things forever. But let's talk about Chickenosaurus. Let's talk about Rage Against the Machine. Would have loved these balls on parade.
I've got a fun story about Chickenosaurus.
Oh, go for it.
When they'd originally written the episode, there's the initial like entrance of Chickenosaurus, and Batman's fighting it using the jetpack glider. And originally he flies into the chemical plant where he defeats them, and they hit an oil tank and they're fried with burning oil like fried chicken. But the writers and the censor said that's too scary for a children's cartoon, so they changed it to barbecue sauce. And in the episode, the barbecue sauce was notoriously red looking, so it looked like they were cooked and then just bleeding everywhere.
The producer's revenge.
Yeah.
But all I was thinking at that moment, as soon as they hit the barbecue sauce, was, man, could you imagine the size of those wings in barbecue sauce? Yum, yum, yum. Automatically, I turned into hunger mode. What can I do? It's Batman, then it's food. The two greatest loves of my life. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Jetpack Batman, because obviously, thank you. You listened to the show that Adam and I have been talking that the armor he appeared in earlier in the season and these wings, this is clearly now we know that we read behind the scenes that it was planned. This is clearly the beginnings of the Batman Beyond costume coming to fruition in front of our eyes, and it's brilliant.
I like, especially in comics more recently over the years, whenever someone sees oh, that's the prototype Beyond suit, it's not ready for another, and then he looks at a calendar or looks at a computer and goes, at least 15 years, and everyone like me and you would just be like, ooh!
We know.
I love little teasers and Easter eggs leading towards Batman Beyond, which at this point I think it would have maybe been starting, or
they'd already started production.
Yeah. Oh, just what a fine time to be alive.
It was the good old days. But obviously when we start reviewing that, and we've been basically told by listeners and viewers that when we finish Batman the Animated Series and the movies, we have to do Batman Beyond. So this show could run for a while.
Oh, good.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Like it. But let's go back to something you said right at the beginning. Again, I love talking to you because you read my mind. And the puns. Toro, that's a lot of bull. Holy cow. Thanks, Tim Drake, for bringing Burt Ward back.
Oh, that's a lot of bull. Caught me a little bit off guard this rewatch, because I was as a kid, straight over the head. But then as an adult, you're like, oh.
Brilliant. Thank you, Steve Gerber and Joe R. Lansdale, for this story.
Also, a lot of these puns took place in the Batmobile with Tim, with Barbara driving, which I liked. Definitely. She's stepping up a bit now, as the full member of the Bat family. How many times did you see Robin driving the Batmobile throughout? It's not many, if you can count them on one hand. So it's nice to see Batgirl's student driver. No doubt they would make a joke about.
And it also shows the weight and the power of that bull and that cow, that they dented the roof of the Batmobile.
And they took a page out of Jurassic World's book at the moment. The first animals that we're exposed to attacking are giant praying mantises, manti, and not really what you'd think a farmer would grow, are they?
The complete opposite. They destroy his crop.
Yeah. So you take them in and be like, not a big enough challenge for my crop.
Yeah. The way I see it is, they bugged him, so he wanted them to bug everyone else. Sorry. Bad jokes are us.
Do you remember in the original series about they introduced a few new characters, his name escapes me. He had an eye patch. He was the underdweller, who.
Oh yeah, that Sewer King guy. Yeah.
Yeah, him. and like a few others that they introduce, and you're like, oh, they're a bit unsettling. And then they bring in Farmer Brown, and it's just like, I can't tell which direction they're going. Is this creepier? Is this more comedic?
It's great because it's like you say that you don't know where this show's going to go from one week to the next. And that's why probably 30 years on, it's still the best Batman media outside of comics because it throws curveballs and it's just so much fun to watch.
And how many of the characters have made the transition from cartoon to comics?
Harley
Quinn, we say every week.
Roxy Rocket.
Yep, Roxy Rocket, Harley Quinn, Red Claw.
Baby
Red
doll
Claw,
now.
Very recently, Red Claw. And Phantasm, big one.
Yeah, huge in Batman Catwoman. Yeah. Superb. Well, they did it right.
Yep.
They did it right. And so much so that, thank goodness, and I never thought I'd say this about anything that Jeff Bezos is involved with, thank goodness for Amazon Prime for buying the rights to Batman Caped Crusader. We are going to get a brand new Batman animated series by Paul Dini, Alan Burnett. I am literally on tenterhooks to see this.
See, I was thinking about that one actually quite a lot recently, because obviously Kevin Conroy everyone was assuming he was going to do the voice. And when it was dropped at like Max, Diedrich Bader, who voices Batman in Batman Brave and the Bold and Harley Quinn, the animated series, he said, like, he tweeted, I think it was like, dang, I was in this. And I'm thinking, if he was involved and they need a Batman, would they not simply say, do you fancy being Batman as well?
The only logical choice. I mean, for me, if it's not Diedrich, because he would have been my number one choice, because he was like, I guess the virtual successor to Kevin. But there's two other people who could do it and do it brilliantly. That's Troy Baker, who played Batman and Joker in the Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and he sounded virtually identical to Kevin and to Mark Hamill. So that'd be my choice for Batman. And if they ever recast Joker, or as Mark Hamill has now said that without Kevin he's not doing it again, this guy.
That's it.
Well, I've got the pedigree. I've done a couple of adverts, but still, let's get back to the episode. So we've had giant cows, giant bulls, giant chickens. Now we're going to talk about the giant bugs. Forgot the giant bugs. Now we're going to talk about the giant talking goat and the giant non-talking pig that tries to squash Harvey Bullock.
The talking goat looks like a robot.
Agreed.
But then it steals Harvey Bullock's donut.
Yeah, that's what's disturbing about it. So that's something I wanted to ask you. Well done. Are they just mutations, or are they also cybernetically enhanced?
Now, before I did the rewatch recently of this, I thought back and I was convinced that they were robots. But then watching it again, I was like, oh, there was just the robot goat. I guess every $1 billion farm comes with a robot goat. Like, yeah, it eats the donut though. So maybe it's a goat that was wearing like a voice collar or something, like a microphone.
Actually, you got it, because that was Farmer Brown's voice talking through the goat. Yeah. I don't know. Whatever it was weird.
Tales of the Obscure.
Yeah. It's crazy shit. But I think I've got to stick with the mutation thing as well, because do you not notice that the chickens, and they were just horrible, had warts and growths and stuff, like the worst GM shiz you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, well, the first batch of the praying mantises, they only last half an hour. He says, because of a genetic mutation that he put in. So he's very skilled. Like, Bruce refers to him as like the microbiologist, I think, at some point, which microbiologist.
Yeah, like, when they're looking on the screen, yeah.
Yeah, like, I just don't know what to make. He's a very gifted scientist that could have done anything, but yeah. And
he can fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so kudos. Farmer Brown, I don't believe we see him again, but then I had this conversation with Brad Felicki from DC Comics News in our last episode, that did we ever see Calendar Girl again? And I'm not sure. I've got to pull out all my Batman Adventures comics, especially now they're collecting them.
Oh yeah.
So to see if these characters appear again. So yeah, so much good stuff.
And these characters would fit well on the page, wouldn't they?
Yeah, totally.
Like, if you can't give them a TV show, if you can't give them a movie appearance, if you can't put them in mainstream, then they can absolutely fit on a page for an issue like Farmer Brown is back. And in the comics, the Adventures Continue comics, they love having one of the characters who you think it's going to be, like the Calendar Girl or Farmer Brown, and then all of a sudden it's a twist. It's a relative. It's a former like partner, and they're coming back to avenge said previously introduced character.
I mean, look what they do with Mayor Hill in the Batman Adventures Continue. So, like, dude, and a lot of people, and it's quite heartbreaking because obviously you and I are ultra nerds. We love the animated series and we love the comic books just as much. But what people don't realize with the Batman Adventures comics, every iteration, which I'm lucky enough to own every issue of, they are as perfect as this show is and tie in seamlessly. They're not adaptations. They don't get the actual episodes and adapt them, but they tell stories between them. Yep. So you can watch the show, you can read the comics, but if you do both, wow, you get so much more out of it. It's brilliant.
There was one storyline that I remember got a lot of backlash from fans with Barbara and Bruce. And there's a few storylines in it that I think people like they choose to forget about because it's so good. And when they like, that's the thing. If you do something so well for so long, if you put 1 foot misstep, then they'll tear you down. It
screams, doesn't it, out at you? And they revisited that whole, let's be honest here, icky relationship between Bruce and Barbara in the horrible, awful first half of the Killing Joke movie, which I've edited down and removed and just start it from the Arkham Asylum scene so it follows the comic. Because no.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about it because you feel as bad about it as I do, clearly. So instead, should we talk about how brilliant Kevin Conroy is, how brilliant Robin is, how brilliant Tara Strong is, and talk about Dina Sherman and Peter Breck, who play Emmylou and Farmer Brown?
Let's. I think the Bat family really got to stretch their legs in this one. Bruce being funny Bruce with Kevin Conroy, because obviously all the puns and all of the jokes were taken care of by the kids in this episode.
Brilliantly.
Even Harvey Bullock, he had a few jokes as well.
Hey, he ate my donut. Yeah, he's also talking and asking for $50 million, Harvey. Get a grip.
Yep. Oh, and what's it is like, you can tell it's not Brajol that's cooking in this kitchen, sort of thing. Like everyone gets a line in this episode.
Wonderful. And Robert Costanza's fantastic casting as Harvey. I mean, I'll never forget him as the cop's brother from Die Hard 2. He's just like that perfect. And Joey's dad in Friends. He's just fantastic. The perfect Brooklynite Guido, isn't he?
He's so good, and he's like a Danny DeVito voice alike. Like where Danny DeVito would do the main role, he would do like the video game or the cartoon or something like that. And I always wanted to see him as a live action Harvey Bullock. Yeah,
me too.
It would have been so good. Like, I think he might be a little bit old now, but
now he would, yeah.
But yeah, it would have been perfect. His Harvey Bullock for me. I think he had a cameo in one of the Arkham games, and it was like one line. That was it. And I was like, I recognize that voice. Yeah.
I'm just glad they brought them all back for the games. Yep. Mark, Kevin, and it's wonderful. In that case, let's talk about first of all the actress who played Emmylou, character actress throughout video games, and believe it or not, more famous for anime. She's such a talented actress and so prolific that she's worked under her own name, Dina Sherman, and she's also known as Stevie Block. Now, I'm not the biggest anime or manga fan, but even I recognize some of these names. And we're talking about Digimon. We're talking about Naruto, Bleach, Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War, Bleach, Memories of Nobody, Bleach, Fade to Black, video games, Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13, and Genshin Impact. So this is a lady who's lent her voice. It's still working. Genshin Impact was like 2020, so she's still going strong now, working back in the 90s. And Emmylou's character, for a one and done, stood out. Like I said, she could be like the power girl, Gotham girl of her time.
Yeah.
Great performance from a great actress.
She would be the perfect person to return for an Adventures Continue comic. Like, even like the way they love bringing people back to join the Suicide Squad as well.
That'd be great.
Or even like more ridiculous to have like a strange odd couple relationship with someone like Killer Croc or something like that.
You know what? That'd be amazing. But how about this one? Our friend, straight man.
Oh yeah.
Blonde-haired, super strong dude. Farmer Brown experiment gone wrong. Brother and sister.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, military applications.
There you go. He was Captain America gone wrong for the Batman animated universe. So could Emmylou. Now, Peter Breck, I had to really rein myself in with the amount of work this guy's done. He's probably up there amongst the all-time greats for Western TV shows and films. I recognise the voice, but he was Doc Holliday for years in the classic 50s Western show Maverick, which is hilarious because Doc Holliday was someone that had been played by Adam West in Lawman. So that was a lovely aside, nice touch. But appearances in Wagon Train, Perry Mason, Gunsmoke, Robert Mitchum, the legendary Robert Mitchum, loved his acting so much that he cast him in Thunder Road. He cast Peter Breck in Thunder Road. Appearances in Bonanza, The Outer Limits, both versions, the classic version and the remake, and 4 seasons of The Big Valley. Appearances in Alias Smith and Jones, the original Mission Impossible TV show, The $6 Million Man, The Incredible Hulk with Lou Ferrigno and Bill Bixby, The Dukes of Hazzard. And this is how well known an actor he was until his untimely passing in 2012. He actually played himself twice on Fantasy Island and in The Fall Guy with Lee Majors.
I believe it was Adam who said it on a previous episode, like Andrea Romano, her phone ringing off the hook as soon as the series came out. Everyone wants to, can I do a voice? Can I do a voice? And I imagine anyone, they're like, oh yeah, I liked him in that, or I liked her in that. Why not? Like, just for a one and done as well. It's just crazy.
I mean, the fact, obviously, you wouldn't have heard it because we recorded it right after your last episode. The fact that Tippi Hedren appeared in the previous episode, Mean Seasons, a legend, Golden Globe winner for The Birds with Alfred Hitchcock, in an episode of Batman the Animated Series. I mean, this show is legendary in every way, shape, or form.
It really did change, like, the Saturday morning cartoon world, didn't it?
Well, the fact we're still talking about it, how many years later?
Yep.
And loving it.
Loving it.
Loving it, loving it, loving it. So, tell me what you loved. What were your main takeaways from this bonkers episode, Critters?
I think the fact that the fate of the world wasn't exactly on the line, and it was just a bit of a mad farmer wanting money that he didn't need and having the Bat family not having a laugh, but like almost realizing how mad the situation was quite fun. Like, especially after a few heavy episodes like Over the Edge and Mean Seasons, where they deal with real issues, then having a giant chicken killed by barbecue sauce is just a bit fun.
Crazy fun. I mean, it's funny because I had the same exact things. You're thinking that it starts off, this is a man trying to cure world hunger by breeding giant animals. It's a noble cause. I mean, vegans might not agree, but hey, you know, each to their own. But to me as well, the fact that, and this is one for the British viewers and listeners, I do apologise for the Americans who will not know what I'm talking about in the next sentence. He's just like an evil Bernard Matthews, isn't he? I want to grow my turkeys to be bigger and beautiful, really beautiful. And that's what you get from Batman the Animated Series. It's like, Yeah, Chef Boyardee gone wrong.
Yeah.
In every way, shape, or form. Fantastic stuff. Well, that's it. That was Critters episode. God blimey, I've closed my notebook. Why did I do that?
92.
Episode 93 of our show and episode 14 of season 3 of Batman the Animated Series. So, James, thank you once again. I love talking to you, brother. It's been a joy. But tell our viewers, tell our listeners where they can hear you, where they can see you, where they can read your work, my friend.
You can read my reviews of many titles across DC on darkknightnews.com. I'm James Attias on there, and I retweet all of my own reviews on Twitter. I am James Attias DC27.
Wonder what that means.
Now tell them about yourself.
Oh, God, I'm everywhere. Run, hide, save yourselves. Just search Steve J. Ray or Fantastic Universes on your search engine of choice to find my works, news, reviews, features and interviews on Fantastic Universes, DC Comics News and Dark Knight News as well. This show is part of the DC Comics News Network. Listen to the main DC Comics News show and this one, and hopefully soon the Harley Quinn adventures will come back as well. Mad Love podcast. Apple, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts, we will be there to assault your eardrums. Dark Knight News, DC Comics News, and Fantastic Universe can be found on Twitter at FanUniverses, at DKNewsCom, and at DC Comics News. But until you find them, wherever you go looking, you need to remember one thing. He's James Attias. He is the Night. Together, we are the Night. And this has been the I Am the Night podcast.
So remember to read more comics.
And watch more
Batman.
Batman.